What's up, everybody? Welcome to Classic Reddit, where real humans read Reddit content. So today, we're going to pick what's the most insane rich person behavior you have ever seen. Alright, this post is by Weeb Asylum. Let's get into it. The first answer by Drive a Shit Car. A guy hosting a private music festival on his land had his car keys taken off of him for being too drunk to drive. He disappeared, and then 20 minutes later, a very low-flying helicopter goes overhead, pretty much clipping the tree tops, swerving all over the sky. It gets lower and dumps a bit too fast on the ground. Engines cut out, and he gets flipping everyone off as he heads back towards his house. Pure crazy. Isn't that a scene in Wolf on Wall Street? You can legally drive drunk as long as you stay off public roads. What? Okay, I'm pretty sure that's bullshit. As far as I know, there is no law that says I can't get blasted and drive my car around my own property. It's stupid, but not illegal. Really? I don't know if I believe that. Could be, though. Timmy? What did I tell you? If you're too drunk to drive a car, you're too drunk to drive your helicopter. It gets lower and dumps down a bit too fast to the ground. Engines cut out and he gets out, flipping everyone off and heads back towards his house. I had to read this sentence 10 times because I can't believe it isn't missing a word and is somehow grammatically acceptable. Engines cut out and he gets out and flips out, comes out and goes to the outhouse. Out. A client we had years ago told us that he downgraded his private 747 to a 737 because he didn't like the way the chandeliers rattled on takeoff. I went on a date with a guy who had access to a company jet because his dad managed a sports team, and the sound of ice in glass tumblers rattling was a bit unsettling, though I don't like planes, especially small planes. And it's not like there were any passengers or flight attendants that I could look to reassuring, calm or indifferent faces. Plus, I had to piss the whole time, but I didn't want to ask if there was a bathroom and look like some peasant noob who had never been in a private jet before. Yeah, I'd like to downgrade my 747 to a 737. Well, we can get you a good deal on a Max to a 737 Max? Max means most, right? That sounds good. Sounds like absolutely no drawbacks. I don't know enough about airplanes to understand that joke. I feel like that's what you tell people when you realize a 747 is too much to operate. Then again, if you've got a 737, you're still doing pretty well. Some honeymoon clients insisted that they would not sleep on a mattress that someone else had slept on, so we had to buy a new mattress for each hotel they stayed in. Each mattress cost over $5,000, and they stayed at 5 hotels. They used each mattress for a couple of nights only, and then we had to remove the mattress from the hotel and dispose of it? I don't believe that last part. There's no way that a business that normally uses the same mattress every day is going to willingly throw away mattresses that new rich people bought and used and then they don't need anymore. That's not a good business decision. If it is, worst case scenario, you act like you're throwing the mattresses away and you tell all those rich people, you're like, hey yo, those mattresses, I took care of all that. Don't worry about it, we got it taken care of. Yeah, just leave them in the hotel rooms. You know? Yeah, you got all those free mattresses and they were gonna throw them in the trash. It's a bad business decision not to take advantage of that. At that price, it would be cheaper to ship their used mattress to each hotel. I mean, buy a mattress for the vacation, ship it to the hotel, not ship your own mattress from your home. This reply to what's the most insane rich person behavior you have ever seen by regular German dude. This guy cutting me off on the street, ramming the right side of my car. We got out of the car and this guy just handed me a 6,500 euro check without discussing. The damage he caused was only 2,000 euros. Damn. That sounds like a person may have just wanted to not deal with legal or insurance issues, so he paid it off instead. But a $6,300 profit to you. Wow. Well, excuse me if I drive around Beverly Hills hoping to get rammed by an extremely rich person. He sounded like he didn't want to deal with the law and insurance and all sorts and just wanted to move on. When I was a kid, a guy ran over my bike and gave me a blank check and told me to use it to cover the bike. I ended up cashing the check for a cool $1 million and then moved to a castle mansion with a slide connected to my bedroom. Just FYI, you still could have taken a picture of his plates, filed a police report, had his insurance pay out to your fixed car, and kept the cash. We had this happen all the time when I was working insurance. Clients would be pissed that their rate went up. I would tell them that I could see if they had a fender bender a month ago, and that was why. But I gave them cash. Why did you pay them again without asking me? Well, Blood, that's how insurance works. That's hilarious. My friend's dad got a summer tennis membership at this fancy club because his kid played on the club's traveling team. Juniors could play for basically nothing. He got invited to play poker with the guys on a random Wednesday, and they sat down and decided to order some wine. The waiter hands the list over to one of the old guys, and the guy says, "No, show us the real wine first." Sure enough, there was a very bourgeois version that was by special request. Ever since my friend told me that story, I've always wondered what special privileges exist for those people if you know who to ask. This reply to "What's the most insane rich person behavior you've ever seen?" by Half Agony, Half Hope. One of the owners of the company I worked for was looking at his bank statement and saw some extra fees that he thought were excessive. So he called the bank to see what it was all about. I guess the person at the bank couldn't explain the reason for the fees, was short with him, and wouldn't waive them. So he decided to close all of his accounts with that bank, which involved paying off the rest of his multi-million-dollar mortgage in cash. So he basically had enough cash sitting in his checking account to pay off his full mortgage, but preferred to take out a mortgage rather than pay for his house in cash. When the mortgage department at the bank realized what happened and how much income they were going to lose out on, they tried to get him to come back and refinance, but he said no. Same person also accidentally received a neighbor's Bloomingdale's bill in the mail. The store had the address wrong, didn't read the name on the bill, and assumed it was his wife's, and paid that bill for years. So he ended up paying thousands of dollars of his neighbor's shopping bills without knowing. And when they figured it out, he told the neighbor to consider it their Christmas present. Yo, that's an endearing story. How sweet. There are good business reasons to prefer having a mortgage. Say you have a business or investment plan that you can realistically expect to give you a 6% return on investment. This is below the average stock return, so easily doable. And you find a loan with the 3% interest rate, which isn't unrealistic for rich people. If you simply use 100,000 euros of your own cash, that gives you a return of 6,000 euros in 1 year. If you use 100,000 euros of your own cash plus a 50,000 euro loan, that gives you a net return of 7,500 euros, 9,000 from the investment minus 1,500 for the loan interest in a year. With larger amounts of cash, it can be the difference of retiring and still having to work. Of course, the monetary value of having a mortgage might not be as much as the value in paying it off all at once. Yeah, I gotta say, that's not too much of a crazy thing. Like, that's a pretty good thing. Like, I mean, a rich person using their money to pay off debt. I mean, most of the rich people just go further into debt, you know? They have a lot of money, but they live, proportionally. Their fees go up tremendously, and they start consuming as much resources as entire communities and towns, So it's tricky. This reply by Ara: I worked at a country club. One of my coworkers lost his apartment because of some fire. One of the members, just one, paid for a 6-month lease and replaced everything the coworker lost in the fire. It blew my mind. I worked at a summer camp that had a lot of wealthy families' children attending. At the request of the parents, a helicopter pad was installed nearby so they didn't have to drive the 2 hours to see their kids at the end of the camp. I assumed that this was paid for by one of the parents, but I can't say for sure. Additionally, many of these parents would tip the camp counselor that looked after their kids for the summer. While I never got anything, my kids were on scholarship, some friends of mine were tipped MacBook Airs, hundreds of dollars and plane tickets to come and visit and stay with the families whenever they wanted, sometimes from crazy distances, like flying on Australian to Los Angeles. Pretty sickening, isn't it? Oh, this username is T Earl Grey Decaf. I fucking love. Oh, why did I actually curse? You know how hard I try and censor myself when I'm reading this, but I just wasn't. Sorry. T Earl Grey. I like Earl Grey a lot, so I'm tripping out over this username. T Earl Grey Decaf said, "Pretty sickening, isn't it? I'm a public school teacher in a wealthy district. I had a parent casually ask me one afternoon if I wanted her designer chandelier. She'd bought 2 and decided she didn't like this one. Lady, I live in a hovel. I'm a public school teacher. I would have instead preferred her family support the school committee candidate who would work on the union. What's up with all these bad business decisions? You should have accepted that chandelier and fucking sold that, eBay, Mercari. There's ways to sell a chandelier that somebody wants to give you, right? That's your mistake working with scholarship kids. Source: teach at a high poverty school in a high poverty city, and have friends and family members who teach in high wealth schools and in high wealth cities. Wait, what's that person even saying? Oh, scholarship. Okay. Okay. That comment's completely over my head. Moving on. This reply to "What's the most insane rich person behavior you've ever seen?" by Curtis Shooter. My dad, when we still talked, saw fines not as punishments, but as the payment to be able to do things others cannot. I could see how that could be problematic. I had an economics professor basically say the same thing. Like, if you run enough red lights that you're doing really well and you're not hurting anybody, and all you're doing is a small fee for the ability to do so when you eventually get caught. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. If you want to make content like this, if you want to run a YouTube channel, but you're intimidated by editing videos and spending multiple hours to just get 20, 30 minutes of video out there, let's work together. Contact us by going to our About page and then clicking the email, doing the CAPTCHA code, and reaching out to us. We want to have a Zoom session with you. We're trying to work with content creators to make videos similar to this. The idea is that you can browse the internet and read things and narrate things and respond to things that you enjoy and make that content your own and record the process. And we want to make it easier for people to produce YouTube content, because making YouTube content gets yourself out there. It develops you. And if you aren't where you want to be now, if you make a video every single day about things that you enjoy, I guarantee you 1 year from now, you will have a clear sense of what you want to do and what you need to do. YouTube's a really amazing resource, but it can be so tricky to get into it and do it properly and do the SEO and everything properly because it's so time consuming, and nobody really teaches you how to do it unless you go find some course or something like that. And a lot of YouTubers, it's so intimidating, right? So if you want to make content more easily using a tool that's made to assist you in creating as much content as you can, then reach out to us. You won't regret it. All right. Thanks for watching. See you next time.